We're in the midst of a very special week in the motorsport calendar. How are you feeling running into this weekend?
I'm excited. This is an awesome week. Monaco, Indianapolis. I like it more when they don't conflict, so I can go to both instead of having to make the tough decision of which one to go to. But last year it was Monaco. This year it's Indianapolis.
So you're heading over to Indianapolis. That was my next question this week. When do you fly this week?
I'm going to head on Wednesday. And ultimately, when I make a decision, it's kind of based on a commercial. And because we just acquired the team, this is the first year under McLaren true ownership. So I felt it was important. Plus, I think we've got 3 drivers that might be able to bring one of these home.
And talking about the trophy, would you take a Indy 500 win over a Monaco win?
That's a tough question. I'm greedy, so I'd like the answer to be both. But there's really not a bigger race in the world than the Indy 500, and grew up in America. I lived in Indianapolis for 20 years, so having one of those would be pretty special.
Now, you're obviously a big motorsport fan. What makes IndyCar so special?
I think IndyCar racing, it's the closest racing in motorsports. You never know who's going to win. I think we're coming into the Indy 500 this weekend. 15 drivers can win it. I don't think many other forms of motorsports has that depth of ability of teams win, so that's exciting. I like the diversity of IndyCar racing, street races, road races, short ovals, long ovals. The cars are super fast, and you have awesome drivers, so it kind of has everything to make it a very exciting race.
And IndyCar in good hands now. You've got the captain at the helm, Roger Penske. Before sitting down for this interview, watched your interview recently with him in the Condor. What was that like to sit down with Roger, and what do you think he's doing in terms of transforming and driving IndyCar forward?
Yeah, Roger's awesome. He's my hero, my business hero, my racing hero. So it's a privilege to be able to work alongside him and with him, and call him a friend and a competitor with his IndyCar team. And he's not an easy guy to race against. Roger has so much passion for motorsports, and specifically IndyCar racing and the Indy 500. I don't think we could have a better custodian of IndyCar racing. He'll invest, he'll think long term. People believe in what Roger kind of touches, turns to gold. So I think, coming out of the pandemic now, we're just starting to see what Roger can bring to the table. We've got a great television package, the strongest in quite some time. We've got big grids. We've got new races in Nashville. We're going to Detroit streets, which will be really cool. I think of Formula One and IndyCar in the street. So I think we're starting to see his commitment to the sport, and it gives everyone a lot of confidence. And then motorsports is about momentum, and he's creating a lot of momentum for us.
Talking about momentum, Formula One growing in America now. Do you see that as a threat or something that IndyCar can really use to build their momentum as well?
No, I think it's very much additive and complementary. Formula One is doing great in North America, but I think what that's going to do is bring in new fans who are also going to turn on TV and see Indy cars and go, these kind of don't look radically different. The racing's spectacular. So I think both IndyCar and Formula One can help build each other's fan base, just like a lot of people that follow football are also basketball fans. It's not necessarily an either or. So I think together it's additive to make open wheel racing in North America more popular. I think we win on both racing series.
And talking about the crossover between F1 and IndyCar, is there much of a collaboration there? And on a fun and novel side, I've seen the drivers sharing good luck messages in the build-up to the weekend, but there definitely does seem to be a collaboration. And obviously you've had Pato in the Formula One car, and you've got links with Colton and Brett.
Yeah, there is. It's more on the kind of commercial fan drivers as opposed to true technology share, because the rules and regulations and what you can do in a Formula One is pretty radically different. There are some learnings. There's a lot of toys here at the MTC that the IndyCar team can dial into. So, but I'd say it's more around, we have commercial partners that are on both. We do use our drivers. We're going to have Pato and Colton doing some Formula One testing for us. And it's definitely a one-team environment here at McLaren Racing.
And back to the 500 and the Condor. Where did you find the Condor, and is it going to be at Indianapolis this weekend?
It will be in Indianapolis this weekend. It was funny. It was on bringatrailer.com, which is now one of the big auction sites. And my friend Alan Gow, who runs the British Touring Car Championship, found it, sent it to me. He knows I'm a big collector and historian, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, I've definitely got to get this. But he actually bid for me because we thought, yeah, the McLaren CEO bidding for a McLaren piece of history, you could get bidded up. So it was funny watching it. And then at the end, he sent a note, you were never going to get out. You were never going to be outbid the CEO of McLaren. So it went to a great home, and the person who had it, it was very emotional for them. So it's a great story.
It's a fabulous story, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of the Condor on the coverage this weekend. Talking about this weekend, you've had qualifying now, Chevrolet versus Honda, but from your team perspective, really strong showing. Were you surprised not to get a car through to the top six, the fast six though?
We were surprised, given how strong we've been in testing and practice. We know why. We had some technical issues on both cars, which were identical, which is why we didn't. I think the good news is we have a strong race car. Qualifying is important, but not as important as it is around, say, Monaco. So a little disappointing because I think we could have had a shot at the front, but it's a long race, and I'm really excited going into it.
And talking of the race, I think that there's the most amount of experience on the second row. So that sort of bodes well because we've not mentioned him yet. Juan Pablo Montoya had an issue in qualifying. He's one of a handful of runners that will be coming from the back, no doubt, on Sunday. But that experience must mean a huge amount. And in terms of driving the team forward, but also his personal chances on the weekend as well. Such a great race, 500 miles.
Yeah, I mean, Helio won last year, so I think experience counts for a lot. When Nigel almost won in '93 and he got jumped at the start, that was experience. So even though he was obviously a very experienced racing driver, he hadn't been experienced around the Indy 500. So having that blend of Juan Pablo's experience and Pato and Felix's youth, who also have good experience, they're now bringing that all together. I think we've got a really strong team.
And talking about how strong a team you've got, you had the Ed Carpenter cars. They always bring a good car, but Chevrolet brought the horsepower to qualifying, certainly. We'll see what happens on Carb Day. But ahead of Team Penske, very strong showing for Arrow, McLaren SP, and the Chevrolet package. You must be pleased with that.
Yeah, it seems to ebb and flow a bit. 1 year it's Chevy, 1 year it's Honda. And last year Honda was very strong, and very happy that I think the Chevy's got definitely have what it takes to win the race this year.
Talking of the race, thoughts for the race. We've got the trophy here, 74-76. McLaren have a magic history, two-time winners. Can you make it a third time? Can Juan Pablo Montoya make it a third time?
I think we have a chance. Unfortunately, I think about 15 other drivers have a chance too, and it's a crazy race and anything can happen. But I think if we're there at the end, then I like our chances.
And then looking at 2022 as a whole, difficult start to the year, one or two distractions off the track, but Pato's got his smile back, and the last couple of races he's been very strong. That must be a real positive for you. And looking at this weekend and the rest of the huge amount of points on offer for the 500, but for a championship campaign, things are now moving in the right direction.
Yeah, it was a tough start for us and for Felix as well. He's qualified really strong, and a variety of issues have stopped him from getting the results. So I think hopefully we got some of the bad luck and gremlins behind us. We've had pace all year. We're going to have pace here in Indianapolis. So between Pato and Felix and Juan, hopefully we'll get towards the front. And yeah, it's a big weekend with it being double points. Pato, I think, has a shout out at the championship. This needs to be a big weekend for us.
Yeah, talking about Felix, on pole at Texas, didn't quite go your way in the race or his way. And talking to one or two of the outsiders in the paddock at Indianapolis, he was very much the driver that they thought could lead the charge in qualifying. He's lining up just behind Pato, but he's a world beater if you look at his CV, and there's a lot of people that believe in Felix, and this is a big year for him as well.
It is a big year. We're a huge believer in Felix, or we wouldn't have signed him a a couple of years ago. Last year was difficult. You know, he had his accident. He made some mistakes. We made some mistakes. So that was a disappointing year for all of us. It's great to see he's come out strong this year, pace-wise. We've not yet been able to really convert that to results, but I think, you know, it's early days, and you know, who knows? Maybe he'll be drinking some milk on Sunday.
Talking of the milk, Juan Pablo Montoya chose chocolate milk last year. If you had to choose the milk, what would you choose?
Something that I could put in my coffee.
Yeah, exactly. Not pour over your head. You got Tim Cindric at Team Penske, captaining the ship there, but you've got your own unique story. Taylor Kyle joined in 2007, I think it was, and has actually worked through almost every sector of the team. How much of a talisman is he, and how pleased are you with his work at the helm?
Yeah, very pleased with Taylor. He's running the show. You know, I'm coming to try and help lift the trophy, but he's the one who will have done all the hard work. He's a great leader. He's young, which is exciting because he's got a long future in IndyCar racing with us. Make no mistake about it. And, you know, he's a racer. He's come up through the ranks, so there's nothing on the racing team he doesn't know. He's a great communicator. He's very serious. You know, I've got Andreas running our Formula One team, and we've got Taylor running our IndyCar team, and I think he's done a wonderful job, and we have a long future together.
2023, just quickly, let's touch on that. 3 cars, question mark. There's a lot of talk about Alexander Rossi, question mark. Is there anything that you can share with us now?
We're definitely going to run 3 cars, which means we're definitely going to have 3 racing drivers. So we have Pato under contract. You know, Felix is in an option year, so we're going to, you know, see how he does. And then there are a few potential free agents out there. One that's won the Indy 500. We're a big fan of Alex Rossi, so I think watch this space.
Watch this space, exactly that. So just to finish off, looking back at the race, the magic of Montoya, you talked about the commercial responsibilities and how big that is for Arrow McLaren SP, but having Montoya in your stable, not just from a commercial perspective, but what else does he bring to the team?
He brings experience, he brings speed, he brings energy, he brings an opinion. And you know, he's a fan favorite. The sponsors love him, and you know, I think just as Helio did last year, there's absolutely no reason why Juan Pablo can't get a 3rd one of these.
Let's hope that's the case. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.